Okay, welcome back to Cruising Off Duty. It has been a while, obviously. So we have not made any real new episodes of anything new since last summer's sailing vacation. And here we are a year later on a sailing vacation. And COVID is still around, which means we are not getting, making sure we have audio. Yeah, we have audio. Not getting free and open travel to the United States and all that stuff. So that's kind of a bummer. We thought this year would be different than last year where we couldn't go to the States side of Lake Ontario, but we got to make do with what we've got. Hey, we're leaving our brand new club. I don't know if you can see it in the background. As I pull away, you'll see a bunch of boats. We're at Collins Bay Marina now instead of Portsmouth Olympic Harbor. And so far we are really, really happy. It's much more, packed, very popular. There's a waiting list, social, lots of people, mostly sailboats, 99% sailboats, not too many power boats. And there's a yacht club, which in normal years would be a huge boon because then we can have reciprocal agreements with other yacht clubs. And we looked in a lot of the places we'd be going along Lake Ontario have reciprocal agreements. But we called around to see if we could get some free slips in these other clubs. And, oh, you want to grab those?
That's fine.
Okay. Janice is taking the fenders down. And they aren't allowing anybody this year because of COVID. Still. In 2021, this is June 27th, Canada's a little behind the United States when it comes to reopening because we didn't get vaccines as quickly as we should have. The government dropped the ball there. They don't have their own production facility, so we had to count on the generosity of other countries to send us their extra, and that meant we were closed a lot longer than we should have been. But anyways, so all of the Canadian ports are open, I mean for anchoring, not for getting a slip, but we're going to do like we did last year, anchor everywhere. So I put out an Instagram post to say if you are in any of those cities, follow us on Instagram and Facebook, and you'll know where we are almost in real time. And then if you want to meet up and you got a boat, bring it out. So today is a beautiful day, brisk wind though. Luckily the Dodger is blocking most of it, or the microphone would be picking up a lot more wind, I'm sure. But just gotta make sure I stay in this channel. Yeah, so it should be a good vacation, and we're hopefully gonna have good weather. There is some rain in the forecast for the first week, but yeah, that's okay. Last year was stiflingly hot and sunny every day. Do you want to come sit beside me for a bit?
Okay.
Janice can be on camera. You don't?
Ropes and fenders are almost done.
Yeah, she doesn't have a microphone. It's windy, eh? It's now very windy. So Janice's gonna continue putting the fenders away. So yeah, there's our club in the back. Hopefully now you can see it. So we're very happy with the improvement over Portsmouth Olympic Harbor, which is run by the city and quite mismanaged, if you ask me. Also a ghost town. So I'm going to let you go so we can finish putting stuff away. But this is the first part of our 4-week sailing voyage around Lake Ontario. Ciao for now. A little shot of our kind of a thin channel, very narrow channel we got to go through to get out of our club. And once we're open in wide open water, we'll throw up the Genoa. This is the bay that is Collins Bay. You can head dead south and go right out into Lake Ontario directly, or take the inner passage, which is almost always what we do because you're protected from the wind and the waves that come off Lake Ontario. Here's us motor sailing into almost, as close to the wind as we can go while motor sailing. And you can see we're bouncing a little bit, but man, if we were outside in Lake Ontario, we'd be getting thrown around in 8-foot waves. Like I said, this is comfortable chop, nothing to worry about really. You can make food, you can enjoy yourself, but you kind of have to motor sail because you need to make some time. And yeah, you could tack back and forth, but it will take you forever. And our plan was to get anchored near Belleville. Now you can see once we get the Genoa out and this high wind, when we start bearing off a bit, get quite a bit of a heel. But then later when we turn north and go towards Deseronto, we're on a nice beam reach, and therefore it's very comfortable. We're barely heeled, and we have the full Genoa out and the full main out. This is the way you want to sail. But after you get past Deseronto, you got to bear due west almost again, heading towards Belleville. You see the sun is setting. We're kind of getting in a rush here. Plus the channel's pretty narrow, so it's kind of hard to sail in here, tacking back and forth, especially when you got to go under bridges. And bridges are always fun because the optical illusion is that you're going to hit the bridge, even though you can't possibly hit the bridge, but you look up thinking, is it going to make it? Is it? Yeah, it made it.
Good morning, people. So yesterday was quite the windy blow. So we came west through the Bay of Quinte up towards Denver-Toronto across, and we're in a sandy Cove Bay near Belleville. But it was pretty much a constant 21 to, I think I saw 29 apparent knots. And yeah, and of course it has to be right on the nose. So the Bay of Quinte is fairly narrow, and we had to tack like a gajillion times. We motor sailed most of it. We had the main out as tight as, sheeted in as tight as we could, and the motor on just to get some progress, because we needed to make, by the way the crow flies, it was about a 43-mile track. But because we had to zigzag, it was more like, I don't know, 58 or something like that. So it was a long day. We didn't get here till about after 10:30 p.m. But here's Sandy Cove this morning. It's a nice little protected bay inside the Bay of Quinte. And yeah, we've been here. This is where we went last year. Great holding. Good sandy bottom for the anchor. And you know, kind of a sort of sunny, hazy day. So next stop is going to be, well, we're going to go through the Murray Canal and then go out through the Presqu'ile Bay and end up in the harbor of Cobourg. So I'll bring you some footage of that along the way if I see anything super exciting. So ciao for now. Look at the old bridge. Be real low to the ground. You see the remnants of it over there. Now, of course, modern high-rise bridge. We're going to go under it right now. Okay, so we're going to go through the Murray Canal. If you watched last year's episode, we tried to do a time lapse, but it's such a long canal. I just looked it up, 8 kilometers, and you're going to have to go like no more than 4 knots. There's no wake and all that in there. So it takes a long time to get through there, longer than my camera was allowed to do a recording for. So anyways, Janice will stand on the side of the boat. We'll show it, but Janice has to give the guy $5.
Yep, I got my 2 20s and a loonie.
When we get to the swing bridge. So it's very picturesque in there, so we'll probably show some footage of this. But this is kind of one of the highlights of this trip through the inner Bay of Quinte.
Yeah, there's a lot of swans.
Yeah, a lot of swans that Janice likes. All right, I'm gonna make sure I don't hit that bifurcation buoy. So I don't know if you can see it over there. That's the entrance. You see the red triangle. Anyways, I'll give you some better footage from the inner part of the canal. Once you leave the Murray Canal, you're into the Presqu'ile Bay, which is fine in most years, but if the water level is low like it was this year, it can be kind of a chore, especially when you have a wing keel mowing down all the weeds. Okay, so anybody who's thinking of doing what we just did is go through the Murray Canal, which is cool, but then you have to come out into Presqu'ile Bay. Prevailing winds in the area is almost always from the west, southwest, and of course that's where it's doing. 19 knots on the nose. And we came out here, and even in 19 knots, we usually can do 4 knots of speed. We're doing like 2 knots of speed, and we were wondering why, and then we saw this bay is like non-stop weeds. It's all cattails.
Big swamp.
Big swamp.
And it's really shallow.
Yeah, even on Navionics here, it says that the depths are supposed to be like 7 feet. And yeah, 7 feet is what the mud level is. When you throw 5-foot weeds, we have a wing keel, so it's like it's a wing on the bottom of my keel. So all I am doing is dragging through the weeds. And so therefore we're doing very low speed. So our next spot was supposed to be Cobourg, but at the pace we're going, we won't get there till after dark.
Yeah.
So we're
That was a super long day yesterday. So we'll see. We're going to get around the point, the Presqu'ile Point, and there's 2 islands over there that are right in front of Presqu'ile Beach. Gull Island is the one where the seagulls nest. It's ugly and it stinks, but it is an anchorage, and we might stop there and dinghy to the beach and go to Cobourg tomorrow.
Yeah, we'll see. Well, today was supposed to be a calm day, and we were looking forward to a nice calm day of progress and motoring. We knew this was shallow, but last year the water levels were high, so even though it said 7, it was more like 8 or 9. This year it's water levels are low.
Yeah.
So it
it's
says
a record low year water level wise.
Yeah, so it says 7, but it's more like 6 or 5 even. We draw 5, so we're dragging through the weeds. Anyway, it's pretty, but not a great place to come with a sailboat, unless it's small like that one over there. Okay, so we reversed to get rid of the weeds. You see all these weeds in the water there. I think we've solved it because we actually had the genoa up and the motor running, and we were only doing 4.1 knots. I think we got rid of the problem, hopefully. We'll see.
So we're passing Presqu'ile Provincial Park, and right there is the flat little Gull Island. Next to that is Pie Bluffs Island. They are both nesting sites for migratory birds, and you're not allowed on them. The land behind the mist over there is a big beach and provincial park that we were thinking of anchoring kind of between these 2 islands and then dinghying over to the park. But the sailing, the water is actually perfect. It's not choppy at all. So we're gonna keep going.
Okay, the enemy of a sailor is a deadline or time you have to be somewhere, because inevitably when you want to be somewhere like over here, you always have the wind right on the nose. So you want to feel like you're sailing, you're not a stinkpot motorboat. So you throw up a sail, like that mainsail, just to try and get a little bit extra speed and feel like you're sailing. But unfortunately that means that you either got to go a little bit too much to starboard and head towards land, or you're going to go way out into Lake Ontario, which is going to add a lot of distance. So the end result is we're going to leave the sail up until we get close to land, and then we're going to have to head into the wind and motor the last bit to Cobourg. But at least Lake Ontario is being very pleasant to us. We thought for sure with the constant wind we've been having in the area of like 20 knots plus the last 48 hours, these would be huge rollers going through Lake Ontario, but for some reason it's not. Now the wind has died a little bit in the last hour or 2, but still, usually the built-up rollers going all the way across Lake Ontario would be, well, built up to the point that it would not be fun out here. But I'm not going to look the gift horse in the mouth. It's actually fairly flat, so we're motor sailing on our way to Cobourg. Skip the old bird poop island back there. But yeah, progress. Once we got rid of all those weeds, I had a lot more confidence we could make it to Cobourg. Beautiful day though. One thing, it's not as bad right now, but earlier, one thing you notice with Lake Ontario, because the water is still fairly cold, but the air is quite warm, I think it's 27 degrees today, you get this weird kind of fog. In fact, if you look ahead, you can kind of see the land is obscured by the fog. And it's just a constant phenomenon out here early in the summer. Well, not that early now, it's almost July, but let's say early June, late May, early June, there's this constant fog out here. It's kind of interesting.
We're on our way to Cobourg. There's a freighter getting filled, but I don't know what.
So when I tell you to, then it'll be 50 feet down. Drop 50. Okay. Okay, we anchored second night here at Cobourg. We've been here last year too. We know it's a really awesome protected anchorage, free to use inside of breakwater. Nice town too, really cute. So we're in a bit of a rush, so we might not spend a lot of time shopping or doing things in Cobourg, right? This time, maybe on the way back. It's a beautiful night. It was originally calling for rain and all this stuff.
We're getting amazing weather versus what the forecast was. Yay!
Yay! Next episode, join us when we go into the harbor of Whitby and then continue on into Toronto. And believe me when I say this, Toronto blew our mind last year when we got there for the first time. There's just so much to do and see, and so many places you can anchor for free in Toronto. So you can look forward to more of that in the coming episode. So stay tuned.